Welcome back to Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. Roman Gabriel III getting you ready for a great weekend of sports. I hope you've had a great Saturday. Of course, we've got NBA playoff action happening this weekend. Some great stuff with Miami and Chicago getting after a very physical series, and Dirk Nowitzki trying to get those Dallas Mavericks over the hump, but they're going against Kevin Durant and an Oklahoma City young club that is giving them some problems as well. So whatever happens, I think we're going to have a great NBA Finals. Later on in the show, we're going to talk some more college football. We're also going to get you ready for the weekend. I've also got some great news for you that I'm looking forward to announcing right here on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. If you missed the program, of course, you can catch us on podcast at afr.net at Sold Out Sports Talk. You can catch all of our programs, including our short program, Sold Out Sports Minute, with so many great guests from sports. We love having you here, 8 Eastern, for Sold Out Sports Talk. My guest coming in is a good friend. He is an NFL agent. He also is involved in youth sports in the St. Paul, Minnesota area. He and I met on Facebook, actually, and have become very good friends, and he is launching a very promising career with young athletes. I like him as an agent because it isn't only about, obviously, success in the NFL. He wants these guys to be successful off the field as well, and I think we need more agents like that. My friend Greg Johnson. Greg, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Roman?
Great to have you in. What's going on up in Minnesota? Is it as warm as it is here today, 70 degrees?
Well, it's actually raining up here. We've had just the last couple of weeks where we've got above 40, 50 degrees, so it's starting to be spring-like around here.
You got to get it. You got to love the frozen tundra up there, you know.
Yeah, I can't wait till we get our new stadium with the retractable roof there, so we can let the snow pile up.
So finally, the city of St. Paul, Minnesota, up there in Minnesota, deciding that they want to keep that Vikings team there. So it sounds like the stadium is inevitable, huh?
Well, I think they're, as I see it, they're still $300 million apart with the state. They've got over $100 million of road costs, and then there appears to be some issue regarding the naming rights, whether that money would go to the state or the Vikings. But hopefully they'll get it hammered out, and we'll get that resolved.
Well, the Vikings and the Twins, great history and success there with the World Series, as well as the Minnesota Vikings, with so much success as a football team throughout time. Of course, my dad playing for the Los Angeles Rams in the 60s, there was no love lost between the Vikings and the Rams, so I never like to talk about the Vikings because the Vikings always had the Rams number. So,
yeah, well, they always had to come up here to play. We always had home field advantage in December, and I think that was an obstacle for the Rams back then.
Well, that's what they need to go back to then. They need to keep an open roof. Forget the retractable thing.
Well,
when it starts snowing, they just open up that roof and go back to that advantage they used to have, right?
Let it in. Let it back in. Yeah.
Well, Greg, a few weeks ago, you had one of your players, Ohio University free safety Donovan Fletcher, who came on our program, and what a great young man, and of course he's an excellent football player and safety, and very interesting situation with what's going on with the NFL lockout. I mean, I know I talked to Donovan and told him to hang in there because when I was playing, I was not drafted either and was a free agent, but the same day that the draft happened, I began to get those phone calls, and of course the disappointment of not getting drafted turned into hope as I had the opportunity to sign with between 2 or 3 teams and did that, and it was a very successful couple of days. I was just ready to play and ready to get on a team. So in Donovan's case, he was undrafted, and of course now he has to wait because the NFL, with its current lockout, unable to sign free agents and unable for these guys to realize their dreams. So give us an update on Ohio safety Donovan Fletcher and some of your other guys and what this unique situation is all about.
Well, yeah, it's a difficult situation. The undrafted rookie is probably the hardest hit by the lockout. As you know, typically right after the draft, they're going to contact 20, 30 rookies and invite them to a rookie camp, give them the opportunity to be invited to their main camp or potentially sign them so they have some direction as to where they're going. and obviously that that hasn't taken place since as a result of the lockout. So what we've tried to do is get them hooked up with either a UFL or CFL team, and I'm trying to bring in a CFL team and a UFL team here to Minneapolis, St. Paul on the 28th to evaluate my guys, and then and some other guys that we're going to invite up here. So, it's been difficult for these guys, but they can't control it, and so they're just continuing to train. And in fact, Donovan's up here in Minneapolis and training with Ryan Engelbert over at ETS, like my other guys.
Greg Johnson, our guest, NFL agent, and also an attorney in Minnesota, and we're going to talk about some of the benevolent things that he's doing in the area. Of course, he has my heart because he loves youth sports and especially youth football. And all these guys like Donovan Fletcher are guys that started out playing Pop Warner football and local football, and at a young age had a dream to play in the NFL. And you were talking about the UFL, Greg, United States Football League. They play in August. The former New York Giants coach Jim Fossil came out yesterday and said he's been getting a ton of calls where there was maybe a little trepidation about players playing in this league. Now with the uncertainty of the NFL season, whether they even are going to play or maybe play a shortened season, now you have a lot of players that are on the fringe or players that haven't had experience that could use an opportunity like the UFL to play in an NFL system under NFL coaches like Denny Green, another guy at Sacramento. Tell me about that league and about the strategy you have with your players with the current lockout situation, and whether this is an alternative that they want to do.
Well, the UFL is a very viable alternative from a couple standpoints. One is that the season, like you just said, it starts actually in August and it's over by mid to late October, so that undrafted rookies can participate in that league and then still get picked up by an NFL team towards the end of the NFL season, assuming there is one. And that the coaches that they do have, I mean, you're talking about Denny Green out in Sacramento, Jim Fossil at Las Vegas, Marty Schottenheimer, out east, and Jerry Glanville as well. And then there's also the Nebraska team. So you've really got some good, solid coaching that's taken place there. Unfortunately, they only have the 5 teams. Right now, boy, there's enough for 10 teams. Enough free agents out there and rookies that want to get involved.
Greg Johnson, our guest, NFL attorney, right here on Sold Out Sports Talk on AFR Talk. And Greg, one of the things that people think about when they think about agents is they think, well, they handle their contracts and they handle their opportunities that are out there that come about, charitable things. But it's so much more than that. When you have players that are young players coming out of college and they're trusting you for their future, I know you've told me that it's a lot more than just the professional side, that you actually have had these youngsters in your home. You've actually been a mentor to these kids and put them in a position to help them going forward as people. And of course, our program is all about the total person. So talk about some of the things and some of the stories and opportunities that you've had with these guys, and why are you an agent?
Well, I try to be a mentor as well as just your typical agent. I'm 48 years old, and I've got my own kids that are in college and high school, and these guys are just a few years older than my own kids. But I got involved with youth sports, predominantly football, over probably a decade or more ago. I love coaching youth football. At the younger age groups, 3rd grade on up to high school, and so I've coached over that period of time. And then we do not have Pop Warner up in Minnesota, and so I started a 7th and 8th grade tackle traveling football program up here that at one point we had 16 of our cities involved in it. It's called the Minnesota Developmental Football League. So, that's kind of in lieu of Pop Warner. But there's really nothing better than going out on a Saturday morning at 8:00 with really young kids, and you got a little dew on the grass, and really bonding with the little guys. I love that.
One of the things about youth sports that's going by the wayside is because it costs to play football. You got to purchase helmets and cleats, and football tends to be a sport that's a little more expensive for parents out there. One of the things that's concerned me that I've talked about on this program is this trend in the schools to go towards cutting out extracurricular activities, not just sports, but things like art and music. And many of us, me included, would never have stayed in school if it hadn't been, for sports, and it really motivated me and gave me a lot of lessons in life. And I knew that I had to do well in school in order to play extracurricular sports. Are you concerned about the trend in terms of where we're going and how kids aren't getting an opportunity to get out there in team sports and learn the kind of lessons that you and I did?
Well, what's happening, at least up here, is as the schools have reduced costs, the parents, the parents that are committed to the certain programs, through booster clubs. I myself started a booster club for our local high school here, the Eastview High School in Apple Valley, in order to raise the funds necessary to fill that gap between what the school district has given you and what you actually need in order to run that program. And so the onus is really on the parents more to go out and do the fundraising, where that used to be provided by the school districts. But all across the board, whether it's arts, music, theater, or sports, there large reduction, and so it's really the parents that have to pick up the ball and get that financing in place.
Greg Johnson, our guest NFL agent, and as you said, also involved very, very heavily in youth sports in the Minneapolis area, and so many volunteers like Greg, and I've been involved doing that. It's so rewarding to see kids have the opportunity to continue and to play sports. Now, when we come back, we're going to talk a little college football with Greg. Some interesting issues coming up about agents and also about paying players a little more than what they get in their scholarship. Big Ten talking about it when we come back on Sold Out.